Do I owe my parents anything? Better yet, do my parents owe me anything? This is gonna be like a huge oversharing session and like gonna involve a lot of my personal trauma. Why am I doing that? A lot of my personal trauma and experiences, which means that this may not be applicable to a lot of people. But anyway, um, I had like a huge, gigantic argument with my parents. And I guess an argument perhaps is a misplaced word because it wasn't really an argument. It was more so like them screaming and me like freaked out. Because if you fucking couldn't tell, I'm Asian and I haven't really talked back to my parents before. Um, but it was like, it was so stupid. It was so stupid. Um, I genuinely have never liked my dad. Okay, that is kind of wrong. I think as a kid, when I didn't know any better, I liked my dad. When I became educated, I accessed the internet and I learned different things. I began disliking my dad. Um, how the argument started is genuinely the most stupid fucking thing ever. But I wanted bubble tea, and it was 1 a.m. So my mom and I ordered bubble tea on like Food Panda or like some delivery app. And then we ordered ours. And then my mom made an order on my dad's behalf. When it came, my mom popped it with a straw and gave it to my dad. And then my dad was like, fuck you, I don't want it. Okay, for context, we don't speak English. Like, we don't speak English at home. So I'm also like translating this. In other words, there will be mistranslations or not the complete accuracy will not be fully captured because I am translating all of this. And then usually my mom kind of just just deals with it slash ignores it, and then like after some time they all cool off and we like act normal again. Um, this time my mom didn't. My mom started yelling back, and then I'm a pussy, so I ran the fuck back to my room right here, and I locked the room, put on my headphones, whatever, and then I hear a very sharp noise, and by then I'm already like tearing up, right? Although this is not like the first argument that I've been through, that I sat through, I was still crying, and then I heard a sharp noise. So even though I was super fucking scared, I opened my door and I like ran outside to the living room, and I was like, shit, did my dad slap my mom? My dad hasn't had a history of domestic abuse, for the context. Asterisk, add an asterisk to that. So then I approached my mom and looked at her, checked if she's okay. There's no red mark, and I asked her, did my dad hit you? She said no. But then she also seemed pretty pissed off. So then I got scared as well. So then I ran back to my room, put on headphones, maxed out the fucking volume. I'm gonna go deaf at the prime age of 50. And then I hear a knock on my door. I thought it was my mom. I thought my mom wanted my help. I opened the door. It's my fucking father. Okay, I don't know why. My instinct tries to shut the door. Evidently, I couldn't because he kept the door open, so I couldn't. And he started screaming. Essentially, he said, don't fucking hide from me. We're gonna have a talk about this. And my headphones are still on. For the context, these are the headphones. And the funny thing is, I was playing K-pop. Anyways, and then my mom came into my room as well. I mean, they've already been arguing for a while, maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes. My mom, this is my room. It's not gigantic, and now the door is open, and my dad is standing here yelling over me while I'm sitting on this chair, and then my mom is right outside, and we're all screaming in here. Okay, we're all fucking screaming in here. So funnily enough, my instincts, as in I didn't really think about this, but my body instinctively, I went into that position where like people tell you if you encounter a brown bear, like play dead and like cover your neck, right? That's the position I went to. I did that, like, and then I bent down. Um, and then my dad is like screaming all these things, and my mom is essentially screaming at him while he screams at me. And then my dad is repeatedly telling my mom, I don't want to fucking talk to you. Shut up, bro. I don't want to talk to you. And then my mom's like, well, evidently my daughter doesn't want to talk to you either. Oh, that's so rough. I think, the moral of the story, I won't get into too many details because I would be here for like 1 fucking hour. I could get into it. It's my fucking channel, but essentially my dad complained about how this house feels loveless and how he isn't loved properly and how I'm a selfish bitch who doesn't do anything. And yeah, that was the argument. And and then it was rough, you know. I thankfully I had school for like 2 weeks, 1 week I think, and then I just like went to school every day really early, came back really late, and I would just avoid my dad, and I would eat dinner alone, sometimes with my mother. If you couldn't tell, I'm on good terms with my mother. And then a holiday came. In other words, I can't escape my dad. Um, I was terrified every day because actually my dad told me that, like, on that night of the argument, he said, we're gonna fucking talk about this when you calm down. And I wanted to avoid that conversation forever, but evidently I couldn't. One day he sat me down. It was like nighttime. My mom wasn't there. Um, and he like went over it again. He was no longer screaming. Thank fucking God. I hate when he screams. He's so loud. It's like he swallowed a fucking speaker. It's so loud, okay? And he's always spitting. He's always ejecting spit and saliva on me, so it's fucking disgusting. But anyway, hopefully he doesn't find this video. Whatever. Basically he talked about his worries, and then he started trauma dumping on me, I guess. He I don't like the word trauma dumping, but basically told me how, I mean, I know all this stuff already. The family he grew up in, the environment he grew up in, and I do recognize both my parents grew up in really shitty households. You know, they were both physically abused, obviously. They both were dirt poor. You know, they couldn't eat 3 meals a day, but they both basically didn't graduate high school, um, and both of their parents were divorced when they were really young. And he was talking about how uh, he felt loveless in this house, and he felt, even as a kid, he said that he was always in a shortage of love, and he tried to build a house for love, and he was like laughing at himself for, you know, even then at 50 years old he still failed. And then he asked me, you know what he fucking asked me? Do you think I'm a failure? What the fuck do I say to that? So I said no. Like, what the fuck, do you want me to say yes? What the fuck was it? Whatever. And then the main takeaway for me anyway, the main takeaway was that he said that uh if I want to go overseas for university, he essentially up to my conditions for my public exams. I have to do even better. For context, I do IB. I already had an offer by then. About It's not that long ago. Okay, this is like 2 or 1 month ago, but I already had a university offer, and it wasn't too high. It was 39 out of 45 with some details, and then my father essentially said, if you don't get 42 out of 45 or above, then he won't let me go overseas. And he was crying. He was like, I hope you don't find me selfish. And then at that point, this is now we're finally at the fucking topic of this video. Do my parents owe me anything? Do I owe my parents anything? Because during the night of the argument, he essentially said to me, the house I give you, the education I give you, the food I give you, the toys I fucking give you, they're not, a Chinese term, quote unquote, 楼凤. There is no direct translation of this. I think it's an amalgamation of guaranteed, deserved, and something that I shouldn't be taking for granted. And this obviously in my head pissed me off. I think if you have a kid, I feel like you should be giving them a house, you should be giving them education, you should be giving them food and water. That's my opinion. You know, there's like, I guess to the best of your ability, you know? My, I think I talked to my mom about this as well, and she was like, she said that she also disagrees with my father because she says that I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask for you to birth me. I didn't ask to be here. I think if you have the ability, then you should be giving me education, food, water, and a house. And I do agree, you know? But then now it's like, what about my overseas education? Um, it's very, very expensive. It is essentially his entire year's worth of, like, his entire salary for a year, for 1 year of my tuition, like, and living expenses. And then my mom kind of always like jokingly chastised my dad because he was the one who essentially motivated me to go overseas for education. Since I was in like seventh grade, he was the person who told me, "Oh, you should go overseas. You should move overseas." And so over time, I looked into it more, and then yeah, I do agree that this is a better decision for me. I don't like where I am. I don't like where I'm living, and I want to get out of here, and also want to get overseas education and just stay where I'm going. So yeah, it's like this huge dilemma. I don't know, no, I don't know, but like I think you should watch a movie. It's called Motherfucker. I don't remember what it's called. It's called Time Still Turns the Pages. It is a short film from Hong Kong. It was released in 2023. And I watched this movie like a week ago and I bawled my fucking eyes out. It was so traumatic. And it was what made me realize that actually all this trauma I've been talking about, it runs much deeper. And I'm not close to getting over it at all as I thought I was. Because the movie was like, the way that the trauma slash argument slash abuse was presented is so accurate to how I experienced it that it genuinely just triggered my fight or flight mode. But anyway, I'm digressing. Um, so like the protagonist in that movie, it's something that I believe a lot of children feel, and it's feeling guilty that your parents have given you so much. It's such a cesspool. I think I wrote about this in my journal literally years ago, but it's just feeling guilty because your parent, one or both, or your guardian, whatever, they're both abusive and they both give you so much. So it's so difficult to navigate because you're grateful for all that they've given you because I guess like you could applaud them for like, oh, my dad didn't like sexually abuse me. He never hit me directly with his hands. And that's not what a lot of people can say. A lot of people have been sexually abused. A lot of people have been physically directly hit before. So I should be grateful for the fact that my dad hasn't done that to me. But then at the same time, I feel like that's applauding the bare minimum. um, and so it's this balance of gratefulness and also the fact that, he's given me so much. He's paid for my tuition. He's given me a fucking laptop, an iPad, a phone, and he is willing to send me overseas for education, even though he doesn't have to do that. I could just attend a local university. But then it's also the fact that, he's thrown my damn fucking iPad at me before, and there's so much trauma, and certainly there's abuse. Even though I'm quite uncomfortable with saying that because I think a lot of people who like suffered the generic amount of abuse, we all suffer imposter syndrome with our abuse. Like we don't really know whether we can call it abuse because yeah, my dad has never hit me directly with his hands, but he's certainly done a lot of fucking fucked up shit before to me. And I think it's gonna take a long time for me to deal with that. I think a while back, right, really fresh from that argument that I was talking about, I was reminiscing with my mother and I was just telling her again about my childhood or the things I remember, and I cried. And also the movie, I watched it and I cried as well. I cried so many times during that movie, I couldn't fucking breathe at the end of it. But like, should I talk about it? Because then it's just gonna feel like I'm ranting about my dad now, instead of like a discussion about something meaningful that applies to more people. I hope. I don't think no one's gonna fucking watch this, but whoever, one day, maybe someone will stumble upon this. I hope you know that, this very generic, average level of both abuse and also like happiness, or the fact that of privilege, I guess it's a balance between privilege and unprivilege. Um, you're not alone. I feel like a lot of people feel this. My best friend also feels this. A lot of people feel this because we just have a very. It's like, I guess we're the first generation to be able to have such, like, I don't know what's the word. It's just, it's a very interesting mix of happiness and unhappiness that stem from both abuse and also privilege at the same time. And it's a very difficult thing to navigate. And it's why I don't want children. It's why I don't want children, because I think I haven't undone enough of my own issues yet for me to not pass this on to them. So I don't want children. But that's, again, tangent alert. So I don't know how to answer this question. The title of this video. Do I owe my parents anything? Oh, yeah. It was because my dad essentially asked me several times. Once normally, the second time was when he sat me down after the argument. He asked me, why am I sending you overseas for education? When I'm loving you, what do I get in return? To me, that's a ridiculous question, by the way. He literally fucking said to me, I love my dog, but what do I get in return? When you adopt your dog, when you adopt a dog, you are making a promise that you're gonna take care of her or him or it forever, regardless, You don't fucking love someone expecting something back. You're not supposed to do that. Whatever. She's being rage baited. And then, essentially, what I got from that conversation, or like the way he said it, made me believe that he wanted me to say that it was an investment. I think that he wanted me to tell him that, oh, you're investing in me. So I said that, To me, that's what he wanted to hear, so I said that. To me, that's ridiculous. That's a fucking huge sum of money that, how would I possibly give back? And at some point, he also said this to me. By the time I come out after university, get into the fucked up, really, really shitty job market, how am I gonna give him back all the money? And the truth is, I can't, okay? And then, to me, again, that's also a ridiculous argument. Do you want me to give you back all the rent of my 18 years of life? Do you want me to give you every single penny and cent that you spent on me in terms of food, clothes, water, education? Do you want me to do that? I fucking hate that so much. Why do you expect your child to give you back all the things that you spent on them? That's not how it should be, right? I feel like you shouldn't have a child and then nurture them and then expect something back. That's ridiculous. I was gonna say, maybe I'm too progressive. I am progressive, not denying that fact. But I think I would rather say I think my dad's too conservative. I still can't answer that question. The video's 20 minutes long. I don't know. Do I owe my parents anything? No. I guess it's a nice thing to do. If you want to help them, give something back to them. Do my parents owe me anything? I think so. I think it's the same thing as when you adopt a dog. You sign the contract, and to me that is a silent promise that you will take care of them for the rest of their life. No matter what, to the best of your ability. To me, when you decide to have a child, that is the same. You promise to take care of them to the best of your ability for however long they need. That's my opinion.